What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to vIDLIFT on the vIDLIFT channel. Looks like we got 3 people in the house. That's probably everybody that's here on the show in the panel. I do see Damon Warren from Day One Adventures has stopped by in the chat, which is excellent because we're going to see more of him later today. Oh, just double checking. Oh, Scott quit picking your nose. Steve Turtle, buckle your pants. You got the right glasses on, Donovan? All right, here we go. Who's first up today? Let's introduce the one, the only, the work camper, Steve Turtle.
Hey,
Mr. Turtle.
How are you? I thought Donovan was a work camper.
He is not a work camper. He keeps saying that he's retired, but yet puts so much effort into vIDLIFT.
Yes, he's in denial. That's what he's in denial.
Can you drive your RV to denial?
What?
Can you drive your RV to denial?
Yes, all the way into the denial. I'm Steve Turtle. I'm a work camper, and I talk about work camping stuff. I am at the Panhandle Pioneer Settlement right now, doing a little work camping. And I don't know, we're having a good time, doing a lot of stuff. I'm sort of passionate about that history. It's like 1920s, 1897, stuff like that, when I was born. But I'm having a good time, and I hope to make a couple videos about, stuff that we're doing down here. So if you're interested or if you want to check that out, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I appreciate your time. Thanks, David.
You keep saying the Panhandle. I've heard that a lot recently from you, but yet you never say the Panhandle of what?
Oh, it's the Panhandle of Florida. The Florida Panhandle. I'm about 52 miles west of Tallahassee.
52 miles west of Tallahassee.
Yep.
That's an interesting part of Florida because everybody thinks it's flat, but there's actually quite a bit of hills there, I think.
Yeah, not so much, but yeah, speaking of which, RV on the wayside, or the RV underwear, they were in Panama City here recently, and they stopped up at the settlement and visited a little bit.
Well, that is so cool. Well, we're going to hear more from RV Underway here in a little while. I have to try to make sure I say it right because, of course, they would like people to know how to find them on YouTube, right?
Yes. Very good.
All right. So next up, let's introduce the one, the only, half of a head. Hold on, let's put you in the right spot there. What?
Wait, it's just stuck inside out. Hang on, let me pull it up. Oh, there it goes. Sorry, sometimes it caves in.
Tell us about yourself.
I'm Donovan from RV on the Wayside, and my lovely wife, Jody, and I, we travel around in our RV and usually go on longer trips now as we've become part-time and left full-time behind us. And that has been a weird change. Everybody goes the other way, but you don't hear many people going the other direction. So we really need to talk about that someday. And we like to make fun videos that are entertaining, unlike all our travel videos before those.
You had some good travel videos.
Hey, we're all right.
I'm still waiting on your footage from the beach. When we
I'm working on. I'm actually editing Mexico right now.
Editing Mexico.
Yep.
Do you remove Cancun and add a little more Mexico City? How does that?
No, lots of Cancun.
All right. Well, let's bring up our last panelist. It's the one, the only, the man that picks his nose when no one is looking. Don't worry, I do it too, Scott McGuire. What's going on, Scott? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey, guys. I'm Scott from McGuire's on Tires. My family and I, we're what Ricky and Barbara from RV Underway would call any-timers. We get on the road anytime we can, and we just love it. We like to go find adventures, and we share those adventures with you guys through the YouTubes and through a weekly live stream on Monday nights. And we are so glad to be a part. Well, I'm not a we. Who am I kidding? I am so glad to be part of this vIDLIFT community. I learn so much every week, and thank you for having me.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. We're so glad to have all of you in this program. And how cool is this to be on our own vIDLIFT channel? I want to give a big shout out to Donovan because he put a lot of effort into getting this rolling. He goes through relapses and remissions. He's like, I want to put effort in. I want to be retired. and he did a little bit of work and he did a lot of work. He did a great job, Donovan. I was a little lost today. I just got back from traveling and discombobulated, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I got Roland's. He helped me out a bit.
And you figured it all out on your own.
I got there. You had to help me with our second video today, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I do see we've got RV Underway is in the chat. We got Camping Therapy. Nick's Picks is here. Who's Steve Turtle? Fordman, a.k.a. Kenneth Oakes. Hey, he's got a new icon or logo.
Kenny!
Looks good. All right. Well, let's take a look at our first video. This was submitted by, it's Barbara and Ricky. Is that correct?
That's
Barbara
correct.
and Ricky of RV Underway. We'll get to the other name we call him later. But let's take a look at this. I'm guessing that we were supposed to start at the 52-second mark. They didn't respond to my email.
Now, we recently purchased this pre-owned Holiday Rambler Endeavor, and there's several maintenance issues we're working through. But we're going to start right here in the power compartment. The markings on the battery and the records in the coach indicate these batteries have served over 7 years and they need to be swapped out. Plus, they've been run dry a couple of times, so obviously those cells are shot. So in this video, we're going to be swapping out the house batteries, or the 6-volt deep cycle lead acid batteries, with these brand new ones. Our preference would have been to replace these with AGM batteries, but because of our repair budget, we're going with these extreme 6-volt wet cell batteries. Our motor coach has 4 house batteries wired in series parallel.
All right. Well, in typical fashion, we are going to start going clockwise and start with Mr. Steve Turtle. Talk a little bit about this video. Did you have enough time to get some notes? I know I was terrible.
Yes, I did. I had notes. Actually, I went with the 52 mark, which made me feel good. On the other video, we'll have to figure that out a little bit later. But I love this. You know, I like Ricky's style of videos. He's very well spoken. It's almost like he was on a radio something or another, where he, you know, was an announcer or did something on radio. I don't know, but he's got a very well spoken voice, and I like to listen to him. He's one of those guys that you could listen to and not get tired of it. However, I was concerned about the very beginning when Barbara was laying up under the camper trying to find all the tools. I didn't understand why Ricky wasn't handing them to her. Poor girl, laying up under the coach trying to find tools and pull them in. And but I thought that was pretty classy. You know, it's something different. I thought it was appropriate, and you know, add a little humor to the video, and I'm all about a little bit of humor. But yeah, I love the video. Let me get my notes right. I thought it was a good instructional video, and sometimes those are hard, you know, because it's pretty step by step. You know, this is what we're going to do, so it's hard to make it, you know, not mundane or anything, you know. But I thought he did a good job. It was step by step, clear and concise. If I was going to do anything a little bit different, I may have mentioned the price difference between the batteries, because he said it wasn't within his repair budget, and I understand how that is because I have one of those too. But I'm sort of torn about prices in videos, because if you say it is $20 today, you know, 2 COVIDs away, it might be $50 or $60 a day. You don't know. So it's a little difficult, because the price that you say, somebody watches it 5 years from now, it'll be a little different. However, you could point out that, you know, lead acid is $20 less expensive than the others, you know, something like that. But you know, I don't think that had much to do with the video not being good or bad. And I don't know, maybe a little more B-roll. I know it would be difficult to get into the battery compartment to show the batteries, but when you talk about parallel and it's complicated, you know, maybe, you know, if somebody could have seen a shot, maybe you got a graphic or something, and, you know, you sort of show that. But again, you know, you label all of it and you put it back the way the labels say. So I don't know. I thought it was a good video. I thought he did a good job. I always like to listen to him.
Well, let's see. Ricky. Ricky and Barbara. Barbara and Ricky. So, first of all, the split screen and the black and white tool swapping was just spot on. Made me laugh. I absolutely enjoyed it. I love the fact the hammer didn't come back out. It was all great. Loved that. And it did take the dryness away from a subject that's hard not to be dry, right? Even if you use wet batteries. And no, I didn't write that joke down. It just came to me. I would have liked to have seen some zoom on the items like Steve Turtle said, but you didn't have to make separate cuts or anything. Just go ahead and shrink down to that portion and then pop back out to where you were on, make a cut, zoom in on that battery section, even if it's a little dark, then pop back to you talking. And when you talk about the other ones, zoom in on that a little bit and then pop back out. And that would have given you a moving section so it didn't feel so long as a solid piece. But to be honest with you, it wasn't that long. So I don't know. I really liked it. I'm really sad that he had to choose between those two batteries and not lithium iron phosphate. But we can't all afford those. But boy, that would be nice to have twice the battery power out of your batteries. So loved it. What do you think?
I liked it. I've seen several of Ricky's videos where the topic could be dry, and I like the style he brings to it. Like one time, the narration turned into, it wasn't Siri, but it was like a British voice came in and started narrating just for fun, because why not? And I really like his style, and the music I thought was perfect for what you were doing. When you said we've been working on maintenance issues, and you showed like Steve was saying, you had run over Barbara and she was still under the bus and her hand was coming out. I liked that. And I like how Donovan said that broke it up, what could have been something dry. I think it went on a little bit too long. So for me, either cut that down or speed it up and just make it go a little bit faster so you can get all the things in that you want. Because in addition to seeing the funny thing, we also had to stare at you, Ricky, for that long period of time. And that's just painful, Really, no, honestly, I think I would have sped that up just a little bit. When you got into talking about run dry, or you're talking about cells, why the AGM versus a 6-volt wet cell, these are things I don't know anything about. As an RVer, when I stumble on your video, I'm going to want to understand that. So maybe just a little bit of explanation of what those are. Why did you choose those batteries? You talked about the budget, but why was that still a good battery anyway? Those type of things. And I like what Steve was saying. Maybe show us a diagram or illustration of the battery. And he was saying it's hard to get in there. And Donovan said maybe just zoom in on what you've already got. Well, you had to have all the batteries out at one point. So while they're out of the RV, you could get your shots and show this is what this does. Here's how I connect this, and help us understand as people who don't deal with batteries. That would have been an easy way to get the shots that you were looking for. But that use of B-roll, I did like the narration with the B-roll, like where your hand is coming in and you're saying these batteries, and we see that. I did like that. But I think some diagrams or illustrations or just some B-roll where the batteries are out and you're showing from the top, here's what we're doing. I think that would have been helpful. But I got to say again, I love how RV Underway is able to take what could be a dry topic, and they've done it time and again and made it enjoyable to watch. Really, y'all are pros at that.
I tell you what, this was a great video. It was really well done. It looked amazing. Honestly, it looks really good. What kind of camera are you using? Because that looked amazing. Is that what do you use? I'm really curious. If you could put that in the chat, we'd all love to know the camera that you're using, because it looked so good. I would say that I feel like David Letterman makes a great, Ricky makes a great video. I've been struggling with it. I always get that mixed up, because I'm like, is this Ricky or is this David Letterman? because, you know, you look just like David Letterman after he grew his beard out, and you talk just as well as he does, and you're funny like him. So that's been on my mind for the longest time. I love it when you get comical with it. I do want to know, how do you guys know that? How do you know that that was Barbara under the bus? I mean, do we just assume that he ran Barbara over with the bus?
He better not have some other woman under that bus.
I guess I didn't look hard enough at the arms with those female arms. I guess I don't know. Anybody? No?
Well, if he's outside the bus and we're looking at him, he can't be under the bus too.
I mean, have you never watched a Steve Turtle video?
She's got a anchor on her arm tattooed.
Oh, that's an intimate detail, you know. All right, Steve Turtle. Well, I thought this was a great video. I was a little confused. I had sent an email earlier, and because I wasn't sure at what point we were supposed to start or stop, and so I'd watched the beginning. And the one thing that I guess I would change that may not have been in this segment was right after the intro, I felt like the graphic kind of stopped and dragged for maybe like 8 seconds, 5 seconds. It seemed kind of long. So I think that's about the only thing that I would change. Is I'd go in there and maybe tweak that down and get rid of that. I realized that probably we're trying to mix it with the music or whatever, make everything fit. It's probably why it was that way. But anyway, let's take another look at this video real quick and see if we can figure out what kind of camera they're using.
Now, we recently purchased this pre-owned Holiday Rambler Endeavor, and there's several maintenance issues we're working through. But we're going to start right here in the power compartment. The markings on the battery and the records in the coach indicate these batteries have served over 7 years and they need to be swapped out. Plus, they've been run dry a couple of times, so obviously those cells are shot. So in this video, we're going to be swapping out the house batteries, or the 6-volt deep cycle lead acid batteries, with these brand new ones. Our preference would have been to replace these with AGM batteries, but because of our repair budget, we're going with these extreme 6-volt wet cell batteries. Our motor coach has 4 house batteries wired in series parallel.
Well, anybody have anything right off the cuff they'd like to say after that second time through?
Ricky doesn't dress that nice. It's obvious that Barbara was doing the work. And plus, he said she does all his undercarriage work. Dirty Sock said he liked the music. Or,
by the way, welcome, Dirty Socks.
She said she liked the music.
Do we know Dirty Socks?
You do, but not them that name. It's nobody it's nobody from my house.
What about Unsubscribe? Do we know Unsubscribe?
Yeah, I know who that is too, but nobody from my house.
Donovan, do you know everybody?
Let's just put it this way.
I don't know Dirty Socks or the other one.
Unsubscribed.
Unsubscribe, which I think is awesome.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
Ricky has equipment.
Hey, believe me, he's got equipment. I seen his video. He's got all kind of stuff.
Did we figure out yet what Ricky's filming with? Ricky, what are you filming with?
He says he has one
of
of
those
answered
that.
Disposable 35 millimeter.
I'm scrolling up looking for that, seeing if I can find it.
He didn't say the camera kind yet.
He don't want to divulge his equipment usage or.
Yeah, that was a direct jab back at him. Honestly, I think it does look amazing. But when we first started VIDLIFT, he kept making comments about how I looked with my camera. Y'all remember that? Yeah. So I was gonna get back at David.
So do you think in the beginning of that clip, do you think he should have, like, when they, instead of doing a split screen, if he's doing the split screen, did you like the fact that he was just kind of stayed in one motion spot? Or do you think he should have, like, stopped for a second and look under there, like he's seeing it, like he's trying to see it while it's happening? You think that wasn't very, I don't know if it was funny or not, but that's the thing I would have done. I've been like, I have to
take
look
the camera
now,
down to like see who's grabbing the tools.
Yeah, just to act like you're looking. No, because remember, it's a split screen.
Right.
He could have looked down while this thing's all going on and then look back up. I don't know if that helps or not. I'm searching.
I was thinking that too, because I did notice that whole time he was just sitting there looking, and I was like, is that a still? And then I saw his shirt tail flapping in the wind. I'm like, that's not a still. He's holding a pose.
Yeah. No, I was thinking similar lines as Donovan, but I would have had Barbara pulling the tools out while I'm talking. I'm like, what's going on?
You know what? That would have been hilarious if they could have had it all in the same frame, and then all of a sudden she like grabbed his ankle or something, and like, nope, not that. Moved over to another tool.
Or she pulls herself out and sticks her head up and goes back in.
It would have been distracting, but it'd been funny.
It would have been great. She wore different gloves. That's a good key. So GoPro 7 and 8, sharpened and color graded in post. Premiere Pro.
They look great.
Yeah,
excellent work.
I don't even know how to grade in color. Is that a school term?
And I don't know if I've ever said it on a VIDLIFT, but something people have to know about RV Underway. They try so hard to come up with a different way of filming, or a different process, or a different look. And I got to tell you, it's a treat to watch that channel and see if you can figure out what he's done differently that he probably hasn't done before. Because I love those kinds of things. So kudos to them.
Yes. I thought it was a good video.
I feel like Scott is kind of. Are you okay, Scott?
I'm sorry, y'all. This is another week where I feel unprepared. I came straight here I was in rehearsal, and I came straight here, and that was my first time seeing the video, and I'm like, it was good. What else do I share? I mean, it was really good. You guys did a good job.
I understand that with school and working a long day and rehearsal and things like that, it probably makes you feel worse that you're a school teacher and you're unprepared.
It just goes to show we got to get that email out a day early if we can.
But I love your commitment.
Yeah, so this one really falls on me because I was traveling. We just got back to Texas yesterday. Work is overwhelming as well. And then we were making the whole process change from one channel to this channel. And so today I'm just like, I've got to figure this out. And it's my fault. I'm sorry, Scott. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, Donovan.
And don't worry.
Sorry, viewers.
I know I should have it a day early, so I'll make sure I get it done at least an hour before the show.
It's okay. It'll be my fault in a couple of weeks.
I think we've each had our trials and tribulations.
Sure.
First time live stream.
First time caller.
Color grading. Ricky talked about color grading. I've never did that, but I do have a function in my editing software where I can sharpen and do control contrast, and it makes the video pop a little bit. But I haven't tried grading. I haven't really messed around with that, but I know some people do, and and I just don't. There's too many whistles and bells.
What does that mean, color grading? What does that do?
So I just started with it probably 3 or 4 months ago. Before that, none of my videos were color graded. I'm sure other applications have it, but Adobe's really well known for it. They've got the app for Lightroom, which is more focused on photographs. You take a picture with the camera, especially like the Canon that I've got, and it takes a lot of the colors in, but when you first look at the photo, it's very bleached out and blah. And so you go in there and you can start tweaking the colors and adjust things to get it to the point where it's much more bright and colorful. And you can apply this to pretty much any camera. He's saying he did it with GoPro. So, and honestly, I could see that because we have a GoPro 5, and I remember it being kind of bland. And now that I know how to color grade, if you're using Adobe, it's got its own tab where I can go into color grading and I can start making adjustments. And you look at a picture or a video in the sky, you can tell it's blue. It's kind of bland. And you start tweaking it, and all of a sudden now it's like this brilliant blue sky. You're like, that's a beautiful blue sky. So it just kind of pulls the colors out and makes it a little more vibrant, things like that. And one of the things that I do to make it easier is, and there are famous people out there that sell these. They're called LUTs, L-U-T. And you can add those into your program for color grading. I was determined, though, I wanted to learn how to make them. So I've actually got a few, and what I do is when I start working on a video now, I will go in there and I'll pull up the LUTs I've already made and just check out how the video looks. And, if it's tweaked too much the wrong way, all of a sudden it's like that purple and green look, like you're on a different planet. I'm like, oh, no, that's not right. I want it to resemble the park I was at. So I just play with those. It's an extra step, but I feel like it kind of makes your video pop out more.
There's a YouTuber that I like to watch with my kids, and it's our favorite YouTubers. It's our favorite YouTuber right now. It's a family, and one thing that they do in their videos, their colors it's almost extreme. It's almost, there's no way their house really looks like that. All their colors are super vibrant. So say they get this one scene exactly like they like it, and then you go to the next scene and they're at the park. Do they have to do it all over again? Or can you apply the same thing? Does it have the same effect? Or do you have to tweak it a little bit when you're in a different place?
I'm still at the level where I'm doing each clip throughout my video, and it's a lot of work. I have learned, though, that you can do something called an adjustment layer where you can kind of apply it to the whole track over the whole thing. I haven't learned how to do that piece yet. I'm still in that process of learning myself. So it can be made easier.
So the problem I have with all this is if my video of my house looks better, then I'm stuck having to go paint the darn thing so it looks as good as it did on the camera. And I just don't want to take that risk because that requires work from my part.
Dave, when you go back and watch the video, are you looking at it going, that's a huge difference? Or is it like a small thing that I might not even notice?
I feel it's a huge difference.
Okay.
It's something that maybe that's something we could do a presentation on this channel in the future. Just kind of show people before and an after. I'll give you a quick example if I could find my control here.
You know what might be fun is you and I sit down together and you teach me to do it, and then everybody will see just how easy or difficult it is because you take the smart guy teaching this guy, and they'll go, yeah, if he can't get it, I can't get it. Or if he can do it, anybody can do it.
You pointed at yourself twice there, sir.
So, nope. So you're saying,
all right, watch this.
So you're saying teachers teach but don't learn?
All right, watch this. Just seeing that I'm changing the hues on the light, right? That's a light bulb that's got the different hues. But look at, that's just one setting. You see how the color comes out in my face with the different lights? So when you start playing with the color grading in the application, you wind up with, 50 different things you can change. So it's something like you may not notice it as much at first. When I started dabbling with it, I was just like, it's not making that big of a difference. But now that I've had more time to practice with it, I'm like, oh, that does make a big difference.
When you watch other people's videos, can you tell if they've done it or not?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, there is somebody that came up in our community that's got really big lately. Happily Ever Hanks. They actually have a LUT that they use that I feel a lot of times it made them look a little too yellow. I would have gone in and tweaked the yellow down just a little bit on that LUT that they applied to their videos.
But they're related to The Simpsons. It only made sense.
Carl and Renee are related to The Simpsons?
Yeah. Are we ready for day?
Hey, let's make a day of hanging out with Day. All right. This next one is from Day One Adventures, which is Damon Warren. And let's get this queued up. It's another one where I sent out the wrong time, but that's okay because Scott hasn't seen it yet.
Batman. Batman. Look at all the stuff people drop. You got hats, water bottle, a couple masks, chapstick. Yeah, there's a couple chapsticks. Looks like hats are in season though. There's a pair of glasses. No way. Yeah, damn.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun, and I'm sure we'll get our first copyright claim here on VidLift tonight. I'm actually honestly curious to find out if Day One Adventures has a copyright claim over that. That'd be something interesting to know. Now, Scott, I know you haven't watched the videos yet. Are you good to go? All right. Take it away, Scott.
I liked right at the beginning of that clip, we went right to the logo and it was spinning on us, and then the music started. That was really cool. I like that a lot. And then you brought it back again when we saw the graphic popped up. That was awesome. And then we're trucking along, and then you put in a pattern interrupt. We're going along, we're ready to go see the ride, and before I get lulled in, you said, well, look at all this stuff people dropped, and you start walking us through it. Just, a lot of times you watch a video and go, what does that have to do with anything? It's enough to make the viewer stay focused, like rather than just, okay, we know that we're walking up to the ride, we know we're going to be in line, we know. You interrupted the pattern, and that was really smart. I think, that being said, I think the pattern interrupt was a little bit too long. You told us the hats and the chapstick and the hats are in season, and we could have moved on. I don't know that we needed to dwell on it, maybe just a couple of seconds, but that was a really smart move, putting that in there. The only other thing I think was we saw the logo when you got to the lines, and then you wanted to show us the lines. And so we looked back and forth. It was one thing, it was a little wobbly. I mean, because you're at an amusement park, it's kind of fast. I would have tried really hard to make that smooth. And I know that's hard at an amusement park, but just everything else about the video was so good. I would like to have seen that a little smoother. And I learned this from Donovan. If you've already panned one way, you probably don't have to pan back because we've already seen that. So just pan one way or the other. But I mean, that was really cool. I like what you're doing there. And my favorite part was that pattern interrupt. Instead of just trucking along, you stopped and said, hey, hats are in season. That was a really smart move.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. You did a great job for seeing it one shot, man. You knocked out almost all my stuff. I love it. So, first of all, I love the comic book style take, and then to reality, and then back to comic book and back to reality. It was so much fun. I mean, it was a blast. And I loved his opening. I mean, I know that's in the middle of this video, but I'm just saying, Batman. I just loved it. I mean, I've been saying it all day in the house. So everybody's just like, I'm pointing to the coffee machine. I'm going, Batman? And my daughter's like, I've had enough, Dad. So great sense of humor. I mean, I love the fact that we got to see like your pattern interrupt, like you said. But I love the fact, hats are in season. You could have almost said, I wonder what people dropped. Oh, looks like hats are in season. And then you could have just went on to the next one. But I thought it was funny, chapstick. I mean, maybe two things. So whatever the funniest ones, throw those in there and move on. But I loved it. I couldn't stop watching. There was enough pace, or there was something going on. Even through the tunnel, I kept waiting for something in the tunnel to happen. And then I heard the woo. And then so even then the sound, it was great. So totally loved it. I I didn't mind the sub-like thing. That wasn't intrusive at all. I thought it was a great spot to put it in. It didn't bother me. It didn't disrupt the story, but I still saw it, and I was still totally engaged. If you can find a place for that, that's a great way to do it. And this is a perfect example. I don't know. I got to think about what I'd change. What do you think, Steve?
Well, I think that I watched the clip where you turned it off, and I watched from there for a minute. So all my notes represent something totally different than what everybody else talked about. So thanks.
You know what? Just roll with what you got.
I'm going to go with it. First off, I thought it was really, really cool that at the beginning of the video, he's talking about someone with a GoPro on the ride, and they weren't supposed to be. They shut the ride down. They had to go all the way up there while the ride's in mid coaster and apprehend the GoPro and the person and get them off the ride. Now, what's funny about that is I love POV or roller coaster rides, you know, where the guy puts the GoPro on his head and he just goes through the ride, because I feel like I'm on that ride too. But obviously this was not a place that you could do that. Now, Batman, I love it. I remember the original Batman, and I think when he started his video and he had the little Batman thing that came up, I'd like to have seen more pows and bangs and boom, but because that's just what I remember from Batman. You know, the newer Batman movies aren't quite that way, but I thought it was a good clip. I enjoyed it. I like Batman, and here's another one. Okay, when he was pointing out all the hats and everything, my work camper persona came into play. And I'm like, those people are throwing trash all over the place, just like campers throw trash all over the place. I'm like, they're doing it everywhere. It's everywhere. But I think that stuff, it falls out of people's pockets and laps and such. So I got all excited there for a minute. I felt bad for him. You know, it's just trashy people all over the place. But I'll save the rest for the round robin.
Yeah, I want to bring up real quick in the chat. Damon did answer with the not monetized, so the claim didn't matter. What I was curious about was, did they actually do a claim? The reason I say that is because the music did kind of go kind of long. You had a lot of the noise of the roller coaster in there as well. So just from a curious standpoint, I was just wondering, did they still get you with the claim? Or did you add enough other noises to overturn it? So interesting to find out what they had to say about that. The transitions in this were great. You know, typically we're saying, you know, hey, not too many transitions, but because we were going for that comic feel, the transitions were perfect. The spinning and everything was just great. One thing that I both liked and would have adjusted, the walk down the tunnel with the light at the end. I love that. I love the feel of that and everything. However, it did run kind of long, and it is something I would have done. I would have put it in there just like that. But now, more experienced me, I would have sped ramp some of that. So as you turned into the tunnel and then kind of sped forward and then slowed it back down right as the lights kind of hit their peak point of being in the eyes, to try to get it down under 5 seconds. I think that would have helped that flow a little bit better. Because as it stands, the whole video had a good pace to it, but then walking into that tunnel and down that tunnel, I felt like there was, that kind of dragged a little bit. Just kind of like, okay, we're going to slow down and look at the light at the end of this tunnel. So I still liked it though, because that's my kind of thing. Love that kind of thing. So, and yet he did say, yes, there was a claim. So we do know that there was a claim, and there will be a claim on vIDLIFT. But that's all right. As you said, we're not monetized either, so it doesn't matter yet. So I've done a few of those myself on Texas Family Camping, where I was like, I'm not even going to worry about it. So at any rate, let's take another look at that real quick, and then we'll do our round table.
Batman. Batman. Look at all the stuff people drop. You got hats, water bottle, a couple masks, chapstick. Yeah, there's a couple chapsticks. Looks like hats are in season though. There's a pair of glasses. No way. Yeah, damn.
All right. Well, what did y'all think? Second time through, you notice anything about anything extra?
Donovan talked about the subscribe graphic, and I noticed the same thing Dave said when we're walking through the tunnel. That was a little longer. Everything else was trucking along, and that felt a little long. And so some tricks to make that shorter. But Donovan was saying that the subscribe graphic wasn't intrusive, and it was a way that he broke up that longer clip. So yeah, that's I like the best option I think would have been what Dave said to speed it up. I think that'd be perfect. But plan B, that was a good plan B. Hey, I know this is a longer one. Let me go ahead and put my subscribe graphic there. And because of that, it wasn't intrusive and it kept moving. I thought that was pretty smart.
Nikki, we're going to get back to your question near the end. If you hang on to that one, we'll answer that. What program would you use to add those extra graphics? Let's talk about what we each use after we talk about the video, because that's a great question. The thing I might have done to make if you really felt like you needed the entire what items fell from the roller coaster life of the party up there, the only thing you might have done for fun is you could have done a little shine graphic on each item as you were talking about it. Have the 3 hats light up and then maybe hit the little chapsticks, and because that might make you start following it. And then the longer piece wouldn't feel long at all. So just another possibility.
I was not sure if the Batman music was original. I mean, it sounded it sounded like it was, but I don't know if anyone on the panel has ever heard this, or maybe someone in the chat, but it's called Nightcore. It's a thing where they take music and they speed it up or slow it down and change the pitch and then throw graphics around it. And they're violating copyright laws, but they don't necessarily get strikes because the music's changed that the algorithm can't pick it up.
Yep.
Some
of us have done that.
Say again?
Did you say
Some of us have done that.
I've never. Nightcore.
Nightcore. Oh.
Nightcore.
So not like
Okay.
Harry and Bull.
Right. I'm
No.
like, Nightcore.
Not. That's first off, I'm nasal and I'm from South Carolina, so I apologize.
As long as you don't start doing magic tricks like Harry Anderson, I think we'll be all right.
Nightcore. But yeah, look it up. It's a thing. I don't know. I've never tried it.
Texas Family Crankacre, special ed. Oh, that's funny.
Who gave us the name the Four Horsemen? Was it Four Horsemen?
I'm deaf. I'm taking it now.
Yeah.
I don't care what we do. I'll just take it.
I don't remember what they're called.
That's different.
I'm Gluttony.
Yeah. Yeah. Audacity. All right, focus.
Yeah, that's what I used too. So, Alex, I used Audacity to do what he just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am big on. So Steve and Donovan were talking about a trick you can do. I am big on the creators should get their whatever they deserve it. They created it. But that being said, I'm also all about using little snippets for effect. Like I just had a video, and what was in there? Oh, Chloe said something about maybe they're from the future. And I showed the Back to the Future license plate, and it said they're going back in time, and went right on. And there was, because it was that short, there was no claim. And for that purpose, I think that's perfectly legit. But there are people like what you're saying that'll take a whole song and just, I'm going to use that whole song. But like Damon's saying here, for his purpose, it worked perfectly. He knows he's going to get the copyright claim. It's not hurting anything, and it's just a fun video. You're not trying to make money off of it. I think that's perfectly okay. There are people though that will try to skirt the copyright laws. I am not a fan of that. I feel like that creator has done work to create that, and they deserve their payday, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I still put the credit in every time I do anything. I mean, even if it's a Creative Commons song, I still put, if I can find the author. If not, I say it was listed in a Creative Commons in Wikipedia. Whatever I have to do, I try to give as much credit to everything I steal.
Was that an omission?
No, I mean, if I get arrested with handcuffs and I steal those handcuffs from the cop and keep them, I'll make sure he knows it's his.
You're going to jail.
You're going. By the way, did you see the Blammo, Steve? He gave you a Blammo there.
Oh, I love the Blammo. Blammo.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, when he did the objects, he could have done that too, like pow on the hats. Yeah. And, you know,
there's
he could have
hat.
that would have been the way to keep going. But I like the fact it was also a break from the comedic, you know, from the comic strip to like a moment of reality and then back in. And I kind of like the break thing, like you were saying, Scott. I like that part.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking about it. It's easy to armchair quarterback a video after the fact. And I know for myself, I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's just ideas of things that when you're doing it the next time, you can think about those. Like, you know, and it may be similar or somewhat similar, but they're just ideas that you could use on a video. I don't think anybody would expect somebody to go back and fix a video, because I probably would not.
Like at some point where all of us are going to come into a clip and go, I really want to include that whole clip, but it feels long. What do I do? Well, tonight we talked about it. It doesn't have to be that you're walking through the tunnel at the Batman ride. You take that clip, you start the clip, you speed it up, and then you finish the clip. Or we put in something and it feels a little long, but we want to make sure we show all the items. We've just talked tonight about how to, well, let's just highlight those items. And that way it's, I mean, that's what I like about this show is we talk about these great ideas. And you don't have to take notes or anything, but next time you're editing a video and you go, I've run into this problem. Wait a minute. Smarty Pants over there told me what I could do in this kind of type of situation. That's what I steal from this video. I steal ideas from you guys all the time. And in the chat too, there's amazing ideas every week. I love it.
Even if it's talking bits where you've got, you know, you feel like the whole thing is important and it's gone long and dry. One of the lessons that I've learned from watching and being part of vIDLIFT was, did I cover the topic too many times? Did I repeat myself too many times? Making sure that I get it down to, you know, just the details that are necessary without repeating. You know, you might be able to shave a few seconds off there, maybe 20 seconds. Just, it can help. It can make it smoother.
You know who's the king of that? This guy. This guy here will watch what you think is a good segment where you've already done that, and you share it with this guy, and he'll go, all right, cut out these 2 seconds, cut out this second. You've already said it twice, and you don't realize you've said it twice. I mean, Donovan is great at that. And I mean, that's a skill. My dad was
such a jerk.
No, I'm serious. I think it's great. My dad was a newspaper editor, and he could take this and go, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. And next thing you know, you've made it a manageable chunk. Like one thing my dad taught me was the word that in writing most of the time is unnecessary. You don't even need the word that. You don't think about it. But that's what I've learned from Donovan is if I can cut it out and it's not necessary, cut it out. Let the thing move forward.
Yeah, Scott.
One of the things I learned is with Scott was to speak at our normal pace.
Yeah.
I mean, he and I both in the beginning, if you watch our older videos, you'll hear us kind of a little dry, not very inflectuating in our voice, and it's changed for both of us. So that was a big deal for us.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I had Donovan look at one of my videos, and he critiqued it, and I cried. It made me sad. I felt bad. I was in tears.
Don't feel bad, Steve. Your videos make me cry too.
I'm so glad you finally confessed. I tried so hard to make you cry. It makes me feel better.
You guys are crazy. What's going on, David?
There's a fly that's just like infatuated. I've got this light on me, and it's like, well, you're clearly where I want to hang out. No.
All right.
Should
focus.
Should we address Nikki's question?
Yes.
All right.
There's too many cooks in the kitchen.
So,
Harvey on the West. What program would you use to add those extra graphics?
What programs would you guys use? I know Steve Turtle does this a lot.
Yes, I use Hit Film Express free download editing software, and it's layers. So you got your video, your audio under that, and I can add a graphic above that on the next track, and it'll show up on top of the video. But it has to be a transparent or a PNG where just the graphic is, doesn't cover the whole screen.
What about getting the graphic? Where do you get the graphic?
The free graphic store.
Do you give credit where credit is due?
All right. Yes, I do. Here's what I do. I go to the Googles, and I find something that I want to use, and I grab it as a JPEG, and then I drop it into a program that erases the background, and it leaves the symbol, the graphic, the thing. So now I have an object with no background, and then I bring it into a file, I save it, and then I can pull it into my editing software. And then I change it 13 times so it's not a copyright infringement.
Name that program that you use to get rid of the background.
It is called, hold on. I'll get it. Hold on. It is called Background Eraser.
Couldn't get any simpler than that.
I'm gonna drop the link in the chat.
Did you really have to look up?
That's
Now, how do you erase
that's why I was laughing.
I'm not talking to Scott. Hold on, I'm getting there.
What do you use, Scott?
I use Canva. It's a button called Background Remover. It just pulls it all out, and then once it does it, you can go back and fine tune exactly how erase a little bit more or pull a bit more back.
And then how do you put it in your video so that it'll lay on the top? Anything special?
I take that, so I go the long route. It's the program I use. It takes some extra step. I put that on a green background, and then I pull that into my editor, and then I call it a green screen, and I just put it where I want it. It's an extra step. Like for, I think Donovan, I think yours is like, hey, I want this. Now move it and put it. Yours is all pretty easy, right?
Yep. I grab it. I make it a PNG. I erase the back just like you guys do. Except, I use Pixelmator to do all of that. One program, and that does everything for me. And then when I get done getting it the way I want, I save it as a PNG. I just stick it on the layer above where I want it, and then I shrink it or enlarge it and just move it where I want on the screen and say, cut here, and that's it. How about you, David?
I use background dissolver, but you got to be careful because the DMV doesn't like it when your background dissolves.
Neither does the military intelligence.
Oh my gosh.
Was that an oxymoron?
Solex said they use 3D paint. I've used that as well. I hope that helps, Nikki.
RV Underway had a question, I think.
You know, this whole show we've said his name wrong.
All right, so RV Underwear would like to know how to trim down editing. Instead of editing for weeks, well, let's just go ahead and take that guy out because he takes forever to make a video. Just kidding. Really, it honestly comes down to practice. Just like what we were talking about color grading earlier. I'm at a point where I want to color grade, but I haven't taken the time to learn the adjustment layer, which would speed things up for me. There's various things that you learn along the way that will help speed things up.
Do you shoot longer clips or shorter clips?
Talking to me?
Everyone on the panel.
I shoot shorter clips, and I put them in bulk in the order that I want the story told. And I keep moving clips around. Before I've edited, I tell the story all the way through, and then I cut everything out that doesn't fit the story. Anytime I got to repeat, I say something twice, I shrink each piece down. Now my whole video is shorter, and now I just have to do the little fine-tuning around that, and then I add my music last, which isn't what everybody does, but I use music last because I want it to be the assistant, not necessarily the foreground. Sound effects might be foreground, but that's how I do it. I build the whole story, take everything out that doesn't keep me on story, and then I start my editing, and that makes it go much faster for me.
I realized this week what a difference this makes. My typical process is take all the clips and cut them down to where they're usable. So, you know, you cut off the very beginning, cut off the very end where there's that little shake, and I get all my usable clips. Then I start editing for the story. Now I'm cutting stuff out, and then so on and so forth. I realized this week I'm editing one where I had mapped out the story ahead of time. 1, 2, 3, here's everything. And it's going a whole lot faster because the clips are shorter. I didn't film extra stuff. It's a whole lot faster.
2 minutes.
Well, since we are getting down to the last 2 minutes, let's take a look real quick at some important information. If you would like to have your video reviewed by vIDLIFT, we would love it if you would submit a 1-minute video. Well, you submit the link to the YouTube video and you tell us the minute that you would like us to review. We do 2 videos each week, and we would love to get some more videos in there. If you could email vidliftinfo@gmail.com, and then just, like I said, give us the link to the YouTube video and the minute you'd like us to take a look at, and we'll get that up on our Tuesday night program, and it gets you some exposure, gives everybody a chance to learn, and sometimes we get some great videos that we don't have anything to criticize. At that point, we just say, maybe I would just do this differently. Not that anything's wrong with the video.
Steve, look out!
Is Barbara in your RV?
That's Barbara.
The white glove.
I don't have any wrenches.
What in the world? I'm looking for the anchor tattoo.
I used the background eraser.
So I don't even have to tell you what channel this is going to be on next week because it's going to be right back here on the vIDLIFT YouTube channel. Thanks again, Donovan, for putting this all together for us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Donovan. Who's going to be the host next week?
Oh, this guy. Oh, and I need videos, so send them.
Send videos.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything from Solex yet. Just saying.
Yeah.
Secret agent man, Solex, submit it.
Secret agent
man.
Well, I
that'll
think
give us another strike.
Yeah. We're in big trouble.
I think it's time for us to get out of here. So why don't we go ahead and? Oh man, I can't. What's happening? Oh, what's happening? I'm losing control.
Dude.